The galaxy had been at war for centuries. Stars were bright, but not with life. They glimmered with the distant fires of battle. Entire planets had become graveyards of civilizations that had once dreamed of greatness. Ships larger than cities moved like predators in space, firing energy beams and missiles that could carve continents in seconds. Alien species, each proud and deadly, fought for control, resources, and pride. Yet through all this chaos, humans watched from the edges of the galaxy, waiting, learning, and preparing. On Earth, in the quiet corridors of the United Nations Space Council, tension crackled like static electricity. Leaders from all human colonies had gathered for an emergency session. The news had arrived only hours before. The war that had engulfed distant systems was now heading straight for the Sol system. Massive alien fleets were on a course that would make Earth the next battlefield if humanity did nothing. The council chambers were tense. Voices rose and fell as politicians, scientists, and military leaders debated. Many argued for caution. "We have survived this long by staying neutral," said one elder council member. "Why throw ourselves into a war we cannot possibly win?" "We are not being cautious," he said. "We are being patient, but patience ends tonight. If we do nothing, Earth will not survive, and if we wait until the fleets arrive, it will be too late to act." They had watched alien tactics, memorized their movements, and developed technologies that no one else could imagine. And now the time had come to use them. Cale Rourke's eyes swept over the room. "This is not about pride. This is about survival. But it is also about showing the galaxy that humans fight differently. We do not rely solely on strength. We rely on intelligence, courage, and the will to act when others hesitate. If we fight as they expect, we will lose. If we fight as humans fight, we will win. And we will win fast. They think us weak. They think we will be easy to destroy. Let us show them how wrong they are." Every ship carried not just weapons, but the knowledge of centuries of observation and preparation. Meanwhile, far beyond the outer colonies, the alien commanders received the news. Their messages were filled with disbelief. "Humans are entering the war," one of them hissed over a secure line. "They are not ready. They cannot possibly interfere." Others laughed. They remembered old records of human history, of a species that had once struggled to explore its own solar system, now claiming to have the courage to challenge interstellar empires. But humans were not the kind of species that waited to be underestimated. They thrived on challenges, on obstacles that others thought impossible. As the first human squadrons left their hiding places near distant asteroid belts, their movements were almost invisible to the alien sensors. Small, agile ships darted through shadows of gas clouds and debris fields, carrying weapons that could strike with deadly precision. In the first hour of engagement, humans did not charge blindly into battle. They studied the alien formations, predicted their patterns, and struck where it would hurt the most. Mines planted in narrow passageways detonated as alien ships passed, disabling engines without a single life lost. Energy pulses hacked into alien drone networks, turning their own technology against them. Every move was calculated, every action designed to create confusion and fear. The aliens were caught off guard. Their fleets, massive and organized, had never faced an enemy so unpredictable. Orders from commanders came too late, and pilots struggled to understand what was happening. Ships meant to intimidate humans now drifted powerless as their systems malfunctioned. Panic spread like wildfire. Back in the command center aboard the human flagship Dauntless, Cale Rourke watched the screens intently. He did not smile, but there was satisfaction in his eyes. "They think this is luck," he said quietly to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Mara Sen. "They think humans stumbled into advantage. Wait until they see the rest. They won't know what hit them." Every strike was precise, every maneuver clever. The humans fought with the cunning of hunters, not the brute force of soldiers. Alien leaders grew frantic. Reports came in, entire squadrons disabled without understanding why, command ships lost without a fight, systems hijacked from within. Some began to doubt each other, suspecting sabotage among their own ranks. Fear spread faster than any human weapon. On Earth, civilians watched the communications feeds in awe and disbelief. They had always been told to fear the vast alien empires. Now, in the first hour of humanity's intervention, they saw proof that their species was capable of more than survival. They saw strategy, bravery, and ingenuity. Children stared at the screens, imagining themselves as pilots or engineers, dreaming of joining the fight one day. The first hour ended with a shocking report from the front lines. Alien forces had suffered losses equivalent to decades of human projections for total engagement. Humans had not even reached the main fleets. They had only tested the waters, sending small strikes to probe weaknesses and create confusion. Cale Rourke leaned back, fingers steepled. He did not celebrate. He could not. There was still much work to do. The war was vast, and even humans, with all their skill and preparation, had to strike decisively to end it. Yet even the humans could feel the change. Something fundamental had shifted in the galaxy. The aliens were no longer the unstoppable titans that everyone feared. They were creatures that could be outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and defeated. And humans, long underestimated, were ready to prove it. The first part of humanity's intervention in the war had ended in confusion and fear for the enemy and hope for humans everywhere. But the best was yet to come. Cale Rourke looked at the battle map, his eyes scanning every system. "This is only hour one," he said. "In the next 4, the galaxy will remember that humans are not to be taken lightly." And the war would never be the same again. The human fleet moved with precision, each ship a small piece of a larger, invisible strategy. They had not rushed blindly into the heart of the alien forces. Instead, they observed, they learned, and they waited for the perfect moment to strike. What the aliens did not realize was that the humans' patience was not weakness, it was preparation. Every human crew member understood their role. Every system, weapon, and engine had been tested under conditions far harsher than the chaos they now faced. In the darkness of deep space, the human squadrons spread out like a web, covering strategic routes and choke points between star systems. Smaller ships, nimble and nearly invisible to standard sensors, darted through asteroid belts and gas clouds. Larger capital ships remained hidden, cloaked behind fragments of debris or disguised as unimportant cargo transports. Humans had mastered the art of misdirection, and the enemy's eyes, vast and powerful, could not see what they were about to lose. Admiral Cale Rourke stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, staring at the holographic battle map. Red symbols representing alien fleets pulsed in chaotic formations. Green and blue symbols representing human ships moved in calm, deliberate lines. "They will not know what hit them until it is too late," he said, his voice steady. Beside him, Lieutenant Mara Sen monitored communications, her fingers dancing across the controls. "Sensors confirm they are redeploying after the last strikes. They are confused, but they are reorganizing. Not fast enough," she added with a small smile. The humans' first true offensive was subtle. They avoided the largest fleets at first, striking at communication relays, energy supply lines, and key drone factories. A single, well-placed strike could disable dozens of alien ships without firing a single missile. Human engineers had created devices that could interface with alien technology almost instantly, taking control of drones and turning them against their own fleet. On a remote planet near the warfront, a squadron of small human ships waited behind the ring of a gas giant. Their mission was simple but critical: disrupt the alien supply chain. The pilots were young, some barely 20, but they had trained for this their entire lives. Captain Elias Vorn led them, calm and confident. "Remember," he said, "this is not about heroics, this is about efficiency. One wrong move and the entire operation fails. Watch your instruments, watch each other, and trust the plan." Within minutes, explosions erupted in key installations, not massive fireballs, but precise bursts that disabled power grids and communication arrays. Alien commanders reacted too slowly. By the time they realized what had happened, multiple supply stations were offline, and confusion spread like wildfire. Meanwhile, larger human ships took advantage of the chaos. Using gravity wells from nearby planets, they accelerated into the flanks of the alien formations. Beams of energy cut through enemy hulls with surgical precision, avoiding civilian planets entirely. This was not mindless destruction. It was controlled, intelligent warfare where every action had a purpose. Reports came back to the human command center, each one more surprising than the last. Entire alien squadrons were immobilized, drifting helplessly in space. Command signals failed. Drones turned against their masters. Confusion rippled through the enemy ranks. Human analysts compared the data to simulations. They had never predicted such rapid success. But humans did not rely solely on simulation. They adapted in real time, improvising when the unexpected occurred, turning challenges into opportunities. In the midst of this chaos, the alien high command gathered in a massive command ship orbiting a dying star. They were proud, arrogant, and certain of victory, Yet even they could not understand the humans' methods. "They fight without pattern," one commander growled. "They anticipate our movements before we make them. Our fleets are in disarray and we cannot respond. How is this possible?" Small squadrons of human fighters slipped past the defensive perimeter, disabling weapon systems on the command ship. Larger human cruisers moved into positions to block any retreat. In every direction, the aliens found themselves trapped, unable to communicate effectively, and facing an enemy they could not predict. In space, humans were beginning to demonstrate a truth the aliens could not accept. Creativity, courage, and adaptability could defeat sheer strength and technology. Pilots who had once flown in simulation chambers now executed maneuvers that no alien strategy accounted for. Ships that seemed ordinary to sensors carried weapons that could dismantle entire alien cruisers in minutes. And every human soldier understood the bigger picture. They were not just fighting for survival. They were showing the galaxy that humanity was a force unlike any other. Back aboard the Dauntless, Admiral Rourke monitored the battlefield. His calm demeanor inspired confidence in everyone around him. "Keep pressure on the flanks," he said. "Do not engage the main fleets yet. Let them overextend themselves. Let them make mistakes." Lieutenant Mara Sen nodded, issuing orders that rippled through the fleet. Human ships moved with the precision of a single organism, each maneuver reinforcing the others, each strike magnifying the previous. Even as the aliens struggled, humans maintained control and discipline. There were no panicked retreats, no rash charges. Every action was purposeful, every strike calculated. Human crews communicated through concise signals, using humor and calm instruction to maintain focus. While the alien fleets descended into chaos, human morale soared. Victory was not guaranteed yet, but confidence surged. Hours passed, and the first major alien fleet engagement began. Humans did not throw themselves at the enemy blindly. Instead, they used the terrain of space, asteroid fields, gravity wells, and nebulae, to their advantage. Alien ships, massive and powerful, could not maneuver as easily. Human pilots darted through debris, striking from unexpected angles, appearing and disappearing in seconds. Alien weapons, designed for straightforward confrontations, missed by wide margins, leaving their ships vulnerable. On one critical world, a human strike team disabled the main planetary defense system. By hacking alien control nodes and rerouting power, they caused explosions in defensive turrets without destroying the city beneath. Alien forces scrambled, realizing too late that humans could attack not just ships but infrastructure without leaving obvious traces. Fear and confusion spread among the enemy ranks. Admiral Rourke observed the screens, noting every weakness exposed, every alien misstep. "Do not stop," he said quietly. "Every second we wait is a second they can recover. Keep them off balance, keep them afraid." Mara Sen smiled. "They will not know how to respond. Every strike teaches them fear." Reports of lost ships and malfunctioning systems multiplied faster than any recovery plan could handle. Commanders argued over communication channels, suspecting betrayal, sabotage, and incompetence. Humans, calm and disciplined, exploited the chaos, disabling fleets, securing strategic positions, and controlling the flow of battle. By the end of the second hour, humans had demonstrated something extraordinary. They were not just participants in the war, they were reshaping it. Alien fleets that had once seemed unstoppable now floundered under human ingenuity. Every engagement reinforced a simple truth. Humans were unpredictable, fearless, and ruthlessly intelligent. Even as the battle raged, humans showed restraint. They did not destroy unnecessarily, focusing on key objectives and preserving resources. It was a style of warfare the galaxy had never seen. The aliens had relied on overwhelming power and intimidation. Humans relied on speed, cleverness, and coordination. In the command center, Cale Rourke looked at the data, a sense of pride settling over him. "Hour 2, he said. "And we have already done what no other species could. They think this is luck. It is not. It is humanity." They were now the ones shaping the outcome. In the darkness of space, the humans' next moves were already being calculated. They would strike at the alien command hubs next, using the confusion they had sown to maximum effect. Every maneuver had a purpose, every attack a lesson in the power of adaptation. And the aliens, still reeling, could not understand how a species they considered weak could challenge them so effectively. By the end of the second hour, the first signs were clear. Humans were not just participating in this war. They were winning. The stars above seemed to shine differently as the human fleet prepared for the next phase. The galaxy was vast, and the conflict far from over. Yet the lesson was already written in every disabled alien ship and every system under human control. Never underestimate humanity. And as the third hour approached, the humans moved forward with the same precision, courage, and intelligence that had brought them this far. Their presence on the battlefield was no longer a rumor, no longer a small nuisance. Humans were a force of nature, a new reality the galaxy had never faced, and they were only beginning to show their true power. The galaxy was beginning to notice a change. What had once been a massive war between advanced alien civilizations now bore the unmistakable mark of human strategy. Ships that had ruled entire systems were now drifting, powerless, or under human control. The aliens' pride, their confidence, had begun to crack. Humans were not just fighting, they were winning, and faster than anyone had imagined. On board the Dauntless, Admiral Cale Rourke studied the holographic map. Red dots representing alien fleets flickered like dying stars, scattered and disorganized. Blue and green dots, representing human squadrons, moved with calm precision. Every movement, every strike was coordinated with careful intelligence. Humans did not waste energy or resources. Each attack had a purpose. Each maneuver forced the enemy into mistakes. "Report," Cale said. His voice was calm, but there was a sharpness in his tone. Every officer in the room knew the importance of the moment. Lieutenant Mara Sen stepped forward. "Hour 3, Admiral. Enemy command networks are compromised. Over 50% of their fleets are immobilized, drifting without guidance. Their drones have turned on their own ships in multiple sectors. Communication between alien commanders is fractured. Their morale is collapsing faster than predicted." Then we moved to the next phase. Humans knew they could exploit it, and they would. Far across the battlefield, human strike teams prepared to enter the most dangerous zones. These were not large fleets of warships, but small, agile groups designed for precision strikes. Pilots ran through their routines, checking every system, every weapon, every possible contingency. Captain Elias Vorn oversaw one such squadron. "This is the moment we've trained for," he said to his team. "Keep calm, trust the plan. We are not just fighting ships, we are striking the brain of their operation. If we succeed, everything changes." One by one, they approached key alien command outposts. The first target was a massive station orbiting a gas giant, housing the central AI and communication nodes for several fleets. Its defenses were formidable, but humans did not rely on force alone. Using specialized hacking tools, human engineers infiltrated the station's systems. Energy pulses disrupted the AI, rerouting defense turrets to misfire and turning security drones against the station itself. In minutes, the alien outpost was effectively neutralized. Their fleets, dependent on the station for coordination, became disoriented. Back on the alien command ship orbiting a dying star, commanders watched in disbelief as the situation deteriorated. "How is this possible?" one screamed. "They have disabled our command systems without even attacking the fleets directly. This should be impossible. None of our predictions accounted for this." By the time alien fleets realized their energy and ammunition stores were compromised, human forces had already captured critical positions. Aliens attempted to regroup, but their coordination systems had been disrupted. Confusion reigned. Ships collided in space, weapons misfired, and fleets lost cohesion. Captain Vorn's squadron received word that the main alien fleet in their sector was moving to counter their strike. They had anticipated this. Using nearby asteroids for cover, the human ships executed a series of maneuvers that alien gunners could not predict. One by one, the larger alien ships were disabled or forced to retreat. The humans moved like a single organism, coordinated and unstoppable. Meanwhile, Cale Rourke and his command team planned the next stage. They had already achieved remarkable success, but they knew the battle was far from over. The largest alien fleets, the ones still capable of fighting back, had yet to engage fully. To win decisively, humans would need to maintain pressure, exploit weaknesses, and continue their unpredictable assault. The human advantage lay not only in technology but in their ability to adapt. Alien strategies were rigid, reliant on brute strength and predictable formations. Humans were fluid, improvisational, and fast learners. When the unexpected occurred, they turned it into opportunity. Every mistake the aliens made became a new chance to strike, a new advantage to exploit. In the midst of the chaos, a human reconnaissance team discovered the location of a major alien fleet gathering. This fleet, the largest in the region, had been confident and unconquerable until now. Admiral Rourke studied the coordinates carefully. "This is the moment," he said. "We will not destroy them all at once. We will dismantle them piece by piece, sowing confusion, fear, and surrender." Simultaneously, larger cruisers attacked from unexpected angles, forcing the fleet into chaotic, inefficient movement. The aliens' enormous size and strength became a disadvantage. They could not maneuver quickly enough, could not respond fast enough, and could not anticipate the humans' clever tactics. In one particularly daring maneuver, human engineers infiltrated the enemy fleet's drone network. Within minutes, the drones turned against their own ships, disabling engines, disrupting weapon systems, and creating panic among the crews. Alien ships, massive and powerful, drifted helplessly in space while human forces struck with speed and precision. Every hour brought new victories. The aliens, who had once believed themselves untouchable, were learning that the humans were not to be underestimated. Every failure, every loss, added to their fear. Humans, by contrast, were calm, disciplined, and focused. They understood that the war was not just about destruction, but about controlling the battlefield, shaping the outcome, and demonstrating the power of ingenuity. By the end of the third hour, human forces had captured or neutralized the majority of alien command nodes in the sector. The largest fleets were still active, but severely weakened and disorganized. Human intelligence teams had mapped out every significant stronghold, every critical supply line, and every vulnerable fleet segment. The aliens had no choice but to fight defensively, reacting to human actions rather than dictating the pace of battle. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Admiral Rourke allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. The operation was going exactly as planned. "Hour 3, he said, almost to himself. "And we have already changed the course of this war. They expected us to fight like them, but we fight like humans. We win because we do not follow their rules." They had watched humans from afar, dismissed them as insignificant, and now realized the truth. Humanity was capable of extraordinary action, capable of turning the tide of an entire war. The humans' success was not based solely on firepower or technology. It was based on courage, intelligence, creativity, and the willingness to act decisively when others hesitated. While alien forces relied on rigid hierarchies and predictable strategies, humans thrived on flexibility, quick thinking, and unity. Captain Vorn and his squadron returned from a successful strike, their ships battered but functional. "We did it," he said quietly. They had no idea what hit them. By the third hour, they had proven that a small, disciplined, intelligent force could dismantle a larger, more powerful one. Alien fleets, once confident in their superiority, now moved cautiously, afraid to act. The psychological impact of humanity's presence was as significant as the physical victories. Fear, confusion, and respect spread across the enemy ranks. In the midst of the victory, Admiral Rourke did not celebrate. He knew the war was far from over and the largest fleets remained. But he also knew something critical. Humans had shifted the balance of power. They had shown the galaxy what they were capable of. In the next 2 hours, they would exploit every weakness, dismantle every threat, and demonstrate that when humans acted, victory followed swiftly. The stars continued to shine, but now they bore witness to a new force. Humans had entered the war, and their presence alone had begun to reshape it. By hour 3, it was clear to all who watched, the war would never be the same again. The fourth hour of the war began with a quiet intensity. Across the galaxy, alien fleets were still reeling from the human attacks. Their command structures were shattered, their ships disabled, and their morale broken. The few commanders who still retained control tried desperately to regroup, but it was too late. The humans were everywhere, moving faster and smarter than the enemy could understand. On board the Dauntless, Admiral Cale Rourke studied the fleet map. Blue and green dots moved in perfect coordination, surrounding the remaining red dots like a net closing on its prey. Mara Sen stood beside him, monitoring the battle. "They're trying to form defensive lines, but they can't organize fast enough," she reported. "Their formations are already collapsing in multiple sectors." The humans had the advantage now, but the final fleets were still dangerous. They would need careful planning and precise action to finish the job without unnecessary losses. In one sector, a human strike team approached the largest remaining alien armada. These were ships that had once commanded entire star systems, massive vessels bristling with weapons and shields. But human pilots did not fear them. They had studied every weakness, every predictable pattern, and every system vulnerability. Small squadrons maneuvered through asteroid fields, dodging heavy fire while targeting the Armada's engines and power cores with precise energy pulses. Captain Elias Vorn led one of the strike teams. "Remember," he said, "we are not here to fight blindly. We are here to dismantle them piece by piece, one critical system at a time. Keep calm, follow the plan, and watch each other's backs." His squadron nodded, the tension high but focused. They had trained for this moment their entire lives, and now every skill, every instinct was being tested in the most intense battle the galaxy had ever seen. Within minutes, the human teams struck with devastating efficiency. Energy beams disabled shields on the largest vessels, drones infiltrated internal systems, and engines failed one by one. Alien crews scrambled, but the humans anticipated every move. What had once been a fearsome armada was now a collection of drifting ships, powerless and disorganized. Across another battlefield, human cruisers blocked retreat routes and captured key supply depots. Alien pilots found themselves trapped, with no way to regroup or escape. Panic spread like wildfire. Even the most disciplined crews could not recover from the constant, unpredictable human attacks. Every victory further demoralized the enemy, and fear became the dominant emotion in their ranks. Admiral Rourke observed the success with a mixture of satisfaction and calculation. "Our 4," he said. "We have taken control of the majority of the enemy fleets. Now we consolidate. Do not underestimate them. The final few ships can still cause trouble if we are careless." Disabled ships were not destroyed unnecessarily. They were captured and repurposed. Alien technology, once feared, was studied and integrated into human systems, giving the humans even greater advantage. It was a combination of strategy, efficiency, and intelligence that no alien species had ever faced. In a distant system, a massive alien battleship attempted to mount a final counterattack. Its weapons were powerful, and its size made it a formidable opponent. But human squadrons anticipated its movements. Using gravity wells and asteroid fields, they executed maneuvers that the alien ship could not match. Drones infiltrated its systems, turning weapons against the vessel itself. Within minutes, it was immobilized, unable to fire or retreat. The alien commander aboard the battleship sent frantic messages, demanding reinforcements and new orders. But there were no reinforcements. The humans had already cut off communication networks and neutralized the surrounding fleets. The commander realized, too late, that the humans had planned every contingency, predicted every reaction, and exploited every weakness. Even as destruction spread among the remaining alien forces, human crews remained disciplined and focused. They did not panic, they did not waste resources, and they did not make rash decisions. Their training, preparation, and intelligence allowed them to strike decisively and efficiently, turning every challenge into an opportunity. On the Dauntless, Cale Rourke issued the next set of orders. Divide the remaining fleets. Isolate the command ships. Take control of every sector. They cannot fight if they are separated, and they cannot resist if they are uncoordinated. Let them see that resistance is useless. Across multiple star systems, alien fleets that had once been proud and fearsome now found themselves trapped, isolated, and powerless. Humans moved like a single organism, coordinated and unstoppable. Every attack, every maneuver was executed with precision. Even the aliens' most advanced tactics could not counter the adaptability and ingenuity of the humans. In the midst of the chaos, humans showed another remarkable trait: restraint. While they could have destroyed the remaining ships with overwhelming force, they chose to capture, disable, or neutralize. Every move demonstrated control, intelligence, and discipline. It was a style of warfare that the galaxy had never seen, a combination of courage, cleverness, and efficiency. Reports from the front lines continued to pour in. Alien ships were surrendering in droves, pilots were abandoning their posts, and entire fleets were drifting helplessly in space. The humans had achieved what no one thought possible. They had broken the enemy's will to fight before the battle was fully over. Even among humans, there was a quiet awe at their own success. They had trained, studied, and prepared for this moment, but the speed and efficiency of their victories exceeded expectations. Every crew member understood that they were part of something historic, something that would be remembered across the galaxy for generations. In the final sectors, human strike teams targeted the last remaining command ships. These vessels were heavily armed and heavily defended. but the humans had learned the patterns of their movements and the weaknesses of their systems. Using coordinated strikes, drones, and precise energy pulses, they disabled engines, disrupted communications, and neutralized weapons. The alien commanders, trapped and powerless, could do nothing but watch as their fleets collapsed around them. The psychological impact was as significant as the physical victories. Alien crews had lost faith in their leaders, in their technology, and in themselves. The humans had shown that strength alone did not guarantee victory. Intelligence, adaptability, and courage could overcome even the most powerful forces. By the end of the fourth hour, the humans had achieved near-total dominance. Alien fleets were either captured, destroyed, or in full retreat. Command networks were neutralized, supply lines were cut, strategic positions were under human control. The once feared alien forces had been reduced to a state of chaos and surrender. Admiral Rourke allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. "Hour 4, he said, "and we have done what the galaxy believed was impossible. The rest will follow quickly. Humanity has proven its strength, intelligence, and determination. Now we finish this cleanly, decisively, and without unnecessary destruction." They had demonstrated courage, ingenuity, and efficiency that no other species had ever matched. The galaxy was learning a new truth. Humans were a force to be reckoned with, unpredictable and unstoppable. As the fourth hour drew to a close, the remaining alien forces faced the inevitability of defeat. Their massive fleets, once thought invincible, were now scattered, powerless, and afraid. Humans moved with calm precision, ensuring that every remaining threat would be neutralized in the final hour. The stars above seemed to shine differently as human forces prepared for the concluding moves. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans had entered the war, and in just 4 hours they had achieved near-total control. The final hour would solidify their dominance, and the lesson would be clear to all. Humanity could not be underestimated. And so, with the fourth hour ending, humans readied themselves for the final phase. Their ships, their crews, and their intelligence were prepared. The alien forces, disorganized and demoralized, had no chance to recover. Humanity's victory was not just imminent, it was certain. The galaxy would never forget this day. The fifth hour began with an almost eerie calm. The alien fleets, once proud and terrifying, were scattered and confused. Their massive warships drifted aimlessly, systems crippled, and crews unsure of what to do. The few commanders who retained control tried desperately to coordinate a final defense, but the humans had already anticipated their moves. Every path, every strategy, every attempt at resistance had been predicted and countered. On board the Dauntless, Admiral Cale Rourke studied the final sector of the battlefield. The holographic map glowed with the outlines of the remaining enemy ships, isolated and powerless. His voice was calm, steady, and filled with authority. "This is it. The last hour. Every fleet we face now will fall quickly. Move with precision. Finish this cleanly, and humanity will be remembered forever. All squadrons in position, Admiral. The enemy command ships are isolated. Remaining fleets are trapped. We can end this without unnecessary losses." Strike teams moved toward the largest remaining alien ships, while support cruisers blocked retreat routes and captured key points. The humans' coordination was flawless. Every movement reinforced the others, creating a web of control that the alien fleets could not escape. Captain Elias Vorn led his squadron toward a massive alien battleship, the final command vessel in their sector. The ship's weapons were still functional, its shields strong, but the humans did not hesitate. Using a combination of speed, maneuvering, and advanced hacking devices, they disabled its defenses. Drones infiltrated internal systems, turning weapons against the vessel itself. The alien crew, confused and panicked, could do nothing to resist. Nearby, human engineers worked to capture other ships. Energy nets immobilized engines, and specialized pulses disrupted weapons without causing destruction. Alien crews, seeing their comrades trapped and their ships helpless, began surrendering. Resistance had become meaningless. Fear and confusion were now universal. Back on the Dauntless, Cale Rourke coordinated the final moves. "Converge on the last command hubs," he ordered. "Ensure every remaining fleet is neutralized. Show them that resistance is useless." Every strategic position, every supply depot, every communication hub had fallen into human control. The speed of their victory was unprecedented. Even the largest alien armadas, which had once dominated entire sectors, were now isolated and drifting helplessly. The humans' combination of strategy, technology, and adaptability had overwhelmed them completely. There was no fight left, only surrender or destruction, and humans chose to minimize unnecessary losses wherever possible. Captain Vorn watched as the massive alien battleship in front of him powered down completely. "It's over," he said quietly. His squadron, battered but victorious, exchanged nods of relief and pride. They had trained for years for this moment, and now it had come to pass. In another sector, human crews rounded up the last isolated alien ships. Their systems were hacked, their crews incapacitated, and their morale destroyed. Even the most determined commanders recognized the futility of resistance. One by one, they surrendered, sending messages requesting terms. Admiral Rourke allowed himself a small smile. "Our 5," he said, "and humanity has won. Not through brute force alone, but through intelligence, strategy, courage, and discipline. We have changed the galaxy in just 5 hours. Humanity's control is complete." The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and in that mistake, it had sealed its own defeat. In the aftermath of the battle, humans took care to stabilize the systems they had captured. Alien civilians and non-combatants were unharmed, treated fairly, and given assistance. Humanity's victory was not just about power. It was about responsibility, control, and the understanding that true strength lay in intelligence, discipline, and moral action. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Admiral Rourke addressed the fleet. "Today, we have done what no one thought possible. In 5 hours, we have ended a war that has lasted centuries. We have shown the galaxy the power of humanity, our courage, our intelligence, and our unity. But we must remember, our responsibility begins now. We have the power to reshape the future. Let us do so wisely." They had once considered humans weak, insignificant, and incapable of meaningful action on the galactic stage. Now they recognized the truth. Humanity was a force unlike any other. Unpredictable, intelligent, and courageous, humans had redefined the balance of power in the galaxy. In distant star systems, alien species began sending envoys to Earth and human colonies. They sought peace, dialogue, and understanding, realizing that further conflict was futile. The humans' victory had not been just military, it had been psychological. The galaxy had learned that to underestimate humanity was a mistake no one could afford to make again. Back on Earth, people celebrated quietly but thoughtfully. They knew the victory had come at a cost, but the message was clear. Humans had demonstrated that intellect, courage, and adaptability could overcome even the most powerful adversaries. Children looked up at the stars with awe, dreaming of joining the ranks of those who had changed the course of history. Admiral Rourke walked to the observation deck of the Dauntless, looking out at the stars. 5 hours, he murmured. In 5 hours, we have done what countless others could not. The galaxy has changed, and humanity has shown its true potential. And now comes the hard part. We must ensure that the peace we have won lasts. We have the power to protect, to guide, and to inspire. Humanity has proven itself. Now we must act wisely. Humans had entered the war, and in just 5 hours, they had won decisively. The galaxy would never forget this day. Even as celebrations and relief spread through human colonies, the message was clear. Humanity was no longer underestimated. They were respected, feared, and admired for their intelligence, strategy, and courage. The galaxy had learned a simple truth. When humans acted, they acted decisively, and when humans fought, they could not be beaten. Admiral Rourke turned from the observation deck to face his crew. "Today, we have proven ourselves, not through arrogance, but through preparation, courage, and discipline. Let us remember what made this victory possible: unity, intelligence, and the will to act when it mattered most. Humanity has won. The galaxy now knows our name." They had demonstrated that humans were not just survivors. They were champions, capable of reshaping the galaxy in ways no one had imagined. And as the 5th hour ended, humanity stood victorious. Alien fleets surrendered, systems stabilized, and the war that had raged for centuries came to an almost instantaneous conclusion. In just 5 hours, humans had entered the war, changed the course of history, and proven that their species was a force unlike any other. The stars, once witnesses to destruction and chaos, now shone on a galaxy transformed. Humanity had arrived not as observers, not as underdogs, but as masters of strategy, courage, and ingenuity. The war was over. The victory was complete. And the galaxy would never forget the day when humans finally joined the war, and in just 5 hours won.